It's almost harvesting season.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a special video. But before we start this special video, I want to thank you for the views that we got on my first video. I love you guys. Now if you ask me what this video is about, it's about the Mount Blade games. For me, the Mount Blade games are one of the best games that I've ever played in my life. And thanks to a thing called nostalgia, these brought me a lot of memories when I was trying to learn this game. These games were absolutely cruel to learn, but I managed to learn them and have great memories with them. So today I tried to recreate a representative unit from every culture from Mount Blade Bannerlord. When Mount Blade Bannerlord released, it released a cool concept of culture, thus giving depth to the world and the lore of Mount Blade. So without further ado, let's get into them. The first unit that I came up with is the Vlandian Banner Knight. I used the legs and the torso from Basil the Battlelord figure that came out this year in a CMF line, some pauldrons, and a great helm. And as a weapon I gave him a pike with a red flag on it. And let's also give him a mount because he's a mounted unit in the game, so let's make it a mounted unit right here. This figure looks absolutely stunning and I like the design that I came up with. The next minifigure has the best aesthetic that I ever came up with. This is the Sturgeon Linebreaker. This unit is a very powerful one in the game, so I made it look very powerful and bulky at the same time, but without making it very blocky. I used Thorin's torso from the Hobbit series and the legs from a Viking. The shoulder pads that I used are from the Geet Warlock from the D&D CMF series. I gave him a beard and a historically accurate Viking helmet. To me, this design is absolutely perfect. I don't know how I came up with this figure, but this is a Sturgeon line breaker, and as you can see, it looks a lot to the video game counterpart. So, moving on. The next minifigure is the Battanian Oathsworn. This is another amazing minifigure that I came up with. I used Viking parts for almost every inch of this figure. But I used the fur color from the Dwarf Barbarian from the D&D CMF line. I also used the Viking helmet without the horns, and I gave him a short axe and a dual molded spear. This unit looks exactly like the Battanian Oathsworn, so I like it a lot, and that's why it is absolutely amazing. The next minifigure was quite a tricky one to come up with, and this is the Imperial Legionary. I know you may say that this is a little bit of a color stew in the points of it, but I tried to use parts from my collection and to make it exactly like the game counterpart. I used the lamellar armor piece present in the Viking minifigures with a uni shoulder guard and the Rohan helmet from Lord of the Rings. The reason I use the Rohan helmet is because the Imperial soldiers like to use highly decorated helmets in order to stand out from other units. Our Imperial Legionary bears an Imperial Spada and a lance with a golden flag on it. This figure stands out a lot from the other figures from the batch because it has a unique aesthetic, and I kinda like it, but it doesn't seem very right in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. The next minifigure is one of my least favorite minifigures of this batch. This figure is supposed to represent the Aserai infantry, but the lack of parts kinda boggled me down to use this poor design that I made. The problem is that LEGO has minimal parts for a Middle Eastern faction in LEGO Castle. That's why it's one of my wishes for LEGO to make a medieval Middle Eastern themed LEGO Castle faction because of these unique parts that you can use for minifigures. I was lucky to find this golden helmet from a very antique Prince of Persia set that I got when I was a kid, the legs from a Rohan minifigure, and the torso from a Lego cast. I gave him a golden cutlass and a spear. Again, this was not how it was supposed to look, but again, the lack of parts made me very, very thin on design options, so this is what I came up with. And the last but not least minifigure is the Crusade Tribal Warrior. This was another tricky minifigure to make, but I had some ideas and parts to work with, so this is what I came up with. So I used the head and the legs from the Gladiator CMF that came out a long time ago during CMF Series 5, and the Barbarian Warrior torso that came out in CMF 25 series. I gave him the Hobbit hairpiece and a quiver with a bow and arrow. I also gave him a horse to make it a mounted archer. This thing puts accent on the Q8 aesthetic and the nomadic aesthetic of the minifigure. I feel like this minifigure looks kind of bland, but again, LEGO hasn't made any parts for a Mongolian or nomadic themed LEGO Castle faction. I think I did a really good job designing this minifigure. Again, the lack of parts is a very big problem with these customs, but I'm glad I managed to do this. I haven't expected this minifigure to look so good, and yeah, this is a really good minifigure after all. I hope you like this video idea. In the future, I plan to make many more custom LEGO Castle related minifigures, but currently I'm very thin on pieces and I have to reorganize and resort them, but I am very happy with the minifigures that I made today. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment with your favorite minifigure from today's video, or you can type in some ideas that you would want to see in the future. Don't forget to share this video and subscribe to the channel because it's free and you help the channel grow. And until next time, I wish you all a good morning, a good night, and a good day.